Smoke.
What is going on, guys? It is your boy, Cannasseuring Rex. We are here with Michael Abramson, CRO of Gorrila Boost and one of the creators of Brothers Grimm Seeds Company. What is going on, brother? How are you today?
So I'm doing well. I'm gonna correct you on this one because I don't want to have my butt chewed out by Mr. Soul. Mr. Soul is the creator of Brothers Grimm, and I work with him. So today's a great day. My little girl, who's 4 weeks today, finally slept more than a couple hours. So I'm in good spirits this morning.
Hell yeah, dude. So let's start everything off today by letting us know a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got into cannabis.
Cool. So I originally hail from Long Island, New York. In 1994, moved to southern New Jersey, a town called Cherry Hill, about 12 miles away from Philadelphia. And then I found myself as a teenager discovering the herb very young at like 13 and going into Philly and skateboarding and just smoking weed all day and really terrible stuff back in the early 90s. And kind of segueing into this, learning what good weed was, and went on this quest and found myself in Northern California. And Northern California brought me to Colorado, which brought me to Oklahoma, and I bounce all over the place now because of cannabis.
Hell yeah, dude. So what really drove you to get involved in cannabis when you were younger?
I guess for me, I always felt a sense of anxiety as a kid, and dealt with those kind of issues. And smoking weed or cannabis for me kind of gave me a level of normalcy. I was part of that generation that they wanted to put every kid on Adderall or Ritalin, and they didn't really look at like what was going on with kids then. So from a recreational standpoint of being into certain music and skateboarding and smoking weed, kind of also helped me feel normal smoking weed. So I didn't have that big anxiety going into anything.
Hell yeah, hell yeah. Now, what is your favorite strain that you have ever grown?
So for me, I have to say the Cinderella 99. I know it's one of the Brothers Grimm strains, but it was kind of the first really quality genetic strains that I ever grew in my life in 1999. So we got, my buddy and I got seeds off the original release back in the dark days of forums and having to send money orders to people to get your seeds or cash in an envelope. I have to say that's still my favorite, and I still have it rocking in my garden, the original as well as different variations that we're working on right now.
Hell yeah, dude. That's fucking awesome, dude. Cindy 99 is definitely holds a special place in my heart.
Yeah, and what's nice about it is it's an early finishing sativa, so you get all the punch from the sativa without having to run something like 10 or 11 weeks, and that's like another thing that for me gave me like a big draw to it, the flavor and the shortness of the grow time for a true sativa hybrid.
Okay. That was actually when I got to Colorado for the first time. Me and a couple buddies of mine, we went to Denver for my bachelor party actually in 2015, right before 420.
Nice.
And I can't remember what dispensary we hit up, but I remember stepping out of the fucking rental car and just being like, I am fucking in heaven, dude. And Cindy 99 was the first bud that I ever bought from any dispensary while I was out there in Colorado. It's
nice.
Fucking phenomenal.
Yeah, it's awesome that if you think about it in context, that strain is a 21-year-old strain created in America, not like a bag seed strain. And it still stands the test of time, as far as dropping resin, trikes, hitting total cannabinoid contents, and, as far as yielding as a plant.
What's the cross on that on the Cindy 99?
So it's all proprietal named stuff. So for like to go through it, I tell people to go to our website and look at the history because it kind of goes more into how Mr. Soul got to finding the different phenos of different strains to create Cinderella 99.
Okay. Okay. Now, tell us a little bit about Brothers Grimm Seeds and Gorrila Boost.
Cool. So Brothers Grimm Seeds, I mean, what can I say? American Seed Bank, we do all our own genetics since 1996. I joined on a couple years ago. Mr. Soul and I have always had a back and forth through the interwebs, and we got to meet through a mutual friend, Jonathan Covert, who owns Covert Genetics. And Brothers Grimm is focused mainly on quality genetics, breeding by example, designer genes. We go through serious testing in order to release a strain. So we're where some houses might come out with a lot of strains every year, multiple times a year. We want to focus on the stability of the genetics, so that in our feminized, you're only throwing off maybe 1, 2, 3 phenos, and feminized, Soul and I call it fem because you're looking at 100% female rate. We have tons of farms running our stuff, full outdoor crops, huge greenhouses, huge indoor operations of our fem gear. So that's what sets us apart. We've been able to keep a number of our strains tried and true, a number of our proprietal genetics that we use as crosses, for crossing, whether it be the P75 or the P94 or the Genius, have kind of, separated us from a lot of other breeders there, because we're still able to have some of that old school, but it's still staying current with the new school and what everybody's desiring.
Okay. Now, so what is the future look like for you guys, and what are your long-term goals over time?
So right now, what everything looks for us is we have 2 facilities. We have our breeding facility in Colorado, and then we have our flower facility in Oklahoma. So we do have a 4-flower facility that we're going to be doing some breeding in Oklahoma as well, which we've already started doing some breeding in Oklahoma. So we're working with a lot of farms out in Oklahoma. We'd like to spread out to other areas as they pass, such as like Kansas, Arkansas has passed some stuff. So really the goal is for us to hopefully, if everything goes well and we find the right people, we want to be in every state, have a Brothers Grimm operation so that we can show people, what we look at as the desired quality for our flower, and also working with certain farms to help bring the quality up.
Awesome. That sounds absolutely fucking exciting for you guys.
Yeah, we're working on a couple international things right now with some different countries. So that's what I hope that the future looks like. Different partnerships with different breeders, collaborations, and just us kind of doing what we've done, and what Soul's done since '96.
Yeah, hell yeah. So what I wanted to add, another question I would like to ask you is coir. Can you explain Coco coir to people that may not know exactly what it is, and maybe some of the benefits that could be to using it, or maybe making a blend with it of something that they like to use?
I could definitely do that. So when you look at a coconut, which it does come from a coconut, when that coconut's hanging on the tree, it's this big, massive thing. And you're really, for an edible standpoint, you're just looking at the nut or the shelled part that's on the inside. So that whole husk is usually a byproduct that for years and years would be waste. They'd use some of the fibers, and probably about 20 years ago, it gained popularity. And that husk gets taken, and it goes through drying processes, shredding processes, washing processes, and some use something called a buffering process. And a buffering process is used to stabilize different pH levels, EC levels, to get that to different desired levels. Some companies do it, some companies don't. What you're looking at with Coco coir is you're looking at a relatively close to neutral medium. So There's a lot of people like growing in rock wool because it's relatively easy. Coco coir is easier with pHing opposed to rock wool. Rock wool is known to have an issue with pH stabilization. Coco coir has a good absorbency. It's natural. It's fully compostable. But it's not looked at as a medium that's going to be carrying any trace nutrients that are going to alleviate that for you. So when you mention blending, now you have a multitude of things that you can do. For my personal outdoor growing, I'll take the native soil wherever, where I'm at. If the native soil is bad, then I'm going to get something like a black dirt, my worm castings, all my different amendments, bone meal, azomite, on and on, kelp meal. And then I'll take my coir and I'll do about a third of the mix in coir, which will help with the absorbency, because if you're getting black dirt, that it's very high organic matter ratio, which means that over time the plant's going to eat up all that organic matter. So you need something that the roots can work around, and that adds volume to that mix. So depending on what you feel comfortable with. I grow in 100% coir indoors. It just means that you just have to understand what you're dealing with on a baseline. It's not going to be a feed it every 5 days kind of situation. If you're giving teas, you're going to want to give teas, at least every other day for a nutrient standpoint.
Okay. How about that little education drop for you folks? All right. So lastly, if you could have anybody take away anything today from this interview that may have the inkling idea of starting a seed company or a cannabis company or any kind of company, what would be that piece of advice that you would want them to take with them?
Wow. So I think, I look at the way I do things, and it's got to have integrity. It's got to have honor. There's got to be a sense of dharma, which, for those who don't know what dharma is, it's doing things with the most appropriate and truest of intentions, and positive of intentions. So if you go on a path of doing everything from the heart, the things will eventually come to you. And make sure that you're aligning yourself with the right things. For Brothers Grimm, we're tried and true. We take our genetics very seriously, so it's all about quality, but we give a lot of seeds out to veterans. We get involved with a lot of different organizations. We're very philanthropic. Same thing with Gorrila Boost. We own our farms. We pay our workers a fair wage. We're using less water in our process. So for me, the ecological and environmental impact that we have is just so great these days. So how can we reduce those things and feel responsible for Mother Earth? So I think, if you align yourself with the best of intentions and you focus, and you're going to get to where you want to be.
Hell yeah, dude. That's awesome advice. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you to our very, very special guest, Mr. Michael Abramson. Make sure you go over to the Instagram, check him out. Where can they find you at, bud?
So they can find me a couple ways. brothersgrimmseeds.com if you want to look for seeds direct from us. On Instagram, I'm Rev Diablo Insano, but we also have at Brothers Grimm Seeds, at Gorrila Boost, and then Mr. Soul is at Mr. Soul _C99.
Thank you all for tuning in. Stay terpy.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.